Hello folks, we're looking at the latest UK car news in this video. The sites I'm looking at today are Auto Express and Autocar. I'm fresh back from LA, still a tiny bit jet lagged. If you haven't watched the video yet, it does go on a bit. It's about an hour and a half, but Autocar have got Auto Express, sorry, have got a feature on it here. So go and have a look at that by all means, but also go and check out the video. It is well worth a watch. It is laden with dad jokes though, so I will warn you about that in advance. Give this one a thumbs up and we'll crack straight on with the content. Transport Secretary resigns over spent fraud conviction. 𝙇𝙄𝙉𝙁𝙄𝙇𝙄𝙼𝙍 tried to scam her employer for phone upgrades. I've read through this on a couple of different sites and it seems like a little bit of a storm in a teacup, but she was convicted for a fraud offence in 2014 and has stepped down. This comes at the same time that the government is supposedly reviewing the ZEV mandate, which they're under a ton of pressure from manufacturers on at the moment. Stellantis have come out and said they're closing Luton because of the ZEV mandate, basically. I think it's a bit of an open secret in the industry that Luton was always destined to be closed. So they're probably using that to support their calls for some sort of subsidy from the government to help them with EV costs. Of course, they could make better cars because there are other EV brands doing really, really well because they're making really good cars at a fair price or bang average cars at a really cheap price. But plenty others out there are doing really well. But that whole review of the ZEV mandate is possibly going to be delayed or at least changed by this change in the Transport Secretary's office. Huge spike in deaths of young women on UK roads. The overall number of casualties in the UK is slightly down compared to last year, but experts believe a rise in deaths of young women could be down to drug driving and mobile phone usage. The number of young women killed or seriously injured on UK roads jumped by an alarming 25% in the last year, prompting a major road safety charity to call for the implementation of AI-assisted cameras and alkolocks to crack down on dangerous driving. Alkolocks are an interesting one. Some people say, why not put them in young people's cars anyway to help them get cheaper insurance? Obviously, if you're not under the influence when you get behind the wheel, it shouldn't be too much of a hindrance to you. But also AI cameras trying to catch people using mobile phones. I cannot believe people are driving around filming themselves with a mobile phone or indeed having FaceTime calls and things whilst they're driving. And that is happening quite a bit. So this is all quite alarming, and why it's affecting young women more than young men, I don't really know. It could, of course, just be chance, but 25% increase is worrying to say the least. Dieselgate is back. Thousands of cars could be recalled as scandal returns. The Department for Transport is currently investigating as many as 47 models across the brands that are suspected to use diesel defeat devices. And this is almost a decade after the issue with VW. Obviously, it could cost the industry millions, hundreds of millions at a time when it appears to be struggling, certainly in some quarters. So, yeah, we will watch that one with anticipation, I guess. Nissan calls for urgent action on ZEV mandate. Obviously, we've already touched on this, but several manufacturers are pushing for this, particularly the ones that produce cars in the UK. Some of them are asking for the ZEV mandate to be reviewed. I think most of them are, in fairness. But lots are also asking for government subsidies to help them keep jobs in the UK and keep producing these cars in the UK. I personally think doing more for people that can't charge at home would be a better use of funds, because if the government were to issue subsidies, all they're really doing is saying to the manufacturers, you don't need to discount your cars as much. And really, I think lots of more people would get into EVs if the government actually put out a proper, well-funded educational campaign that dispelled a lot of the BS that's out there. There are a lot of people, probably a lot watching this video, where the only reason they don't want an EV is because of some of the nonsense they've read or seen online. Let's not forget that one major fuel company has 150 paid anti-EV lobbyists in the UK. That's one company. I've got a couple of EVs. I'm not an EV evangelist. I think a lot of people would be perfectly happy with an EV. There are still some that wouldn't, and nothing's going to change that. And fair play if that's you, no problem with that whatsoever. But there are lots of people that simply don't want one because they think it's going to blow up or the battery's going to die after 2 minutes, based on sensationalist stuff in the press and also some of the stuff on social media, let's face it. So I think the government could do a lot more on that side of things, and certainly coming up with solutions for home charging for people that don't have a private drive. So many people message me and say, I've approached my local council and I want to put a gully in so I can charge, run the cable through the pavement and charge outside my house. And the council come back and say, no, you can't have planning permission. Perhaps the council should be turning around and saying, yes, we want you to have an electric car, so we'll come and install the gully for you free of charge. Things like that could be more useful than saying to a manufacturer, here's $2,500 that you don't have to discount off that car. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. New Renault 5 is one of the cheapest EVs in the UK. The Renault 5 starts from just under 23 grand and will be available to order from January next year. That 23 grand one is going to have 190 miles of range. You will also be able to pay a bit more and get one with 248 miles of range. I have to say the rear seat space in those is very cramped. Legroom's really tight, but it's a lovely looking thing. Volkswagen's new EV platform to benefit from tie-up with Rivian. The German company confirmed that they will apply learnings from joint venture to the forthcoming SSP architecture. If you don't know, Volkswagen have invested heavily in Rivian. They've now got sort of a joint venture, and VW said at the LA Auto Show actually that they will now start to implement some of that Rivian technology into the new VW platform more or less immediately. So that's quite interesting. The Ioniq 9 was revealed there too. So we're looking at about 390 miles of range, 110 kilowatt battery, which is huge, single or dual motor, and they think it's going to be 65 to 70 grand. I'm not in love with the design of this one. I feel like it's a little bit of a miss. The more I've looked at it, the less I've liked it. The interior looks great, and there are features on it that I like, but as an overall design, I'm not in love with it. Not like I am with the Ioniq 5, for example, which I think is beautiful, a wonderful thing. I actually prefer the look of the EV9 as well, I have to say, but your mileage may vary. I have a walk around of the car in my LA Auto Show video, so check that out. New Ioniq 3 to bring unique style to the crossover class. So this is going to be the sibling to the EV3, but it's going to be a bit cheaper. It seems. So it'll lower the entry point into the Ioniq range, certainly. It'll be the cheapest Ioniq that we see. And they're calling this a Euro-centric car, which is going to have a lower spec, but also a lower price. And I think there's quite a lot of call for that at the moment. So it's probably a really great move by Hyundai, to be fair. This is only an artist impression, by the way, so don't get too invested in what it looks like. The Tesla Cybercab, or Robo-Taxi, is now on show at London's Westfield Shopping Centre. I did see this in LA as well. The wheels on it are huge. In fact, it's a big car generally, but it has only got 2 seats, obviously. Just crazy technology, and it's unbelievable that these things are actually reality now and not something from sci-fi, but might be worth going and having a look. It's an interesting thing that lots of people are going to be talking about. Over in LA, by the way, we saw these Waymo taxis, which are Jag I-Paces with about 1 million cameras on them, and you just see those driving around with someone in the back and obviously no one in the front of the car, and it's bonkers to see. It's a bit jarring actually, but they seem to be driving very well around the very busy streets of LA. XPeng G6 to be sold alongside Subaru, Isuzu in the UK. International Motors has been announced as the official distributor for XPeng in the UK, with sales starting in early 2025. I know a couple of people that follow the channel have got a real interest in XPeng and will be happy with this news. And I am sometimes lend me cars, so hopefully I'll get one of those in for review because I'm really interested by their range. Some of the stuff looks really quite cool. I'm not so sure about the G6 personally, but maybe it will grow on me. KGM Action 2024 preview prices and specs. So this is going to be the bigger sibling to the Torres. I was really disappointed with the Torres, I have to say. It just felt like it wasn't quite yet a finished product, yet, you know, it's out in the market. It showed a lot of promise, and I've always quite liked SsangYong products in the past. Obviously, KGM is the new name for SsangYong. This is going to start around 37 grand, and they're saying it's kind of premium, mid-size SUV. Oh, I think it's going to be a tough one. It needs to be very, very good, and it certainly needs to have taken a few lessons from the Torres, I think. Now, this is old news now. New Jag logos unveiled as big concept reveal moves closer. We have obviously seen that concept reveal now, and I did a video on it, and I've since deleted the video. Not that I said anything I said in there I take back, but my big concern is that loads of people at Jaguar could lose their jobs, and I feel like I don't want to be some knobhead that's poo-pooing the idea and could contribute towards that in any way. And I just thought, I'm not actually that happy with that, so I've taken the video down. And lots of people have said, you know, maybe that marketing campaign was an absolute stroke of genius, because more people are talking about Jag now than they ever have in the past. But very few people are talking about it in a complimentary way, and I think very few of the people talking about it are going to go and buy a Jag, especially one that's possibly going to be 130 grand. So interesting times. I think Jag need to do more to reassure people that their cars are going to be reliable, because that's been their biggest problem for a long time, is reliability. It's a premium product that doesn't work that well, and that's a big problem that needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed at the top, and it needs to be a strong feature in their marketing message, I think, because, you know, it's a brand that a lot of people hold quite dear to them, and it's just slipped away in recent times. And yeah, I think there's work to do there, but I'd rather be part of the solution than the problem. So there you go, my video's gone. Kia EV6 GT gets even more power plus trick gearbox from the Ioniq 5N. So this will now have 600 brake horsepower like the Ioniq 5N, and then there's going to be a silly button to press where it goes to 640 odd. It's also going to get that gearbox, that faux gearbox that you've got on the Ioniq 5N, which to me makes the whole car just, it goes from being a great car to a phenomenal, exceptional thing, and something that's quite unique at the moment. Not too many people are serving that enthusiast driver market in the EV space. So I'm massively excited about that. Obviously, we've already seen it once, so it's not going to be as interesting when you see it in a second car. But hopefully we start to see things like this more often. And if someone did that in a cheaper car, you have to think that it's only really software that's involved. There's no physical gearbox. If someone did that in something like a small, lightweight MG Cyberster or something, you know, MX-5, those kind of cars, it'd be brilliant. Like, it's what the EV space needs. More fun, I think. Exclusive new Maserati Gran Turismo 110 Anniversario is a 750 brake horsepower birthday party. This special fully electric Gran Turismo is Maserati's present to itself. 0-62 in 2.5 seconds, 750 brake horsepower, 2.2 ton curb weight, and 199 miles an hour. It's going to cost you 178 grand. Lotus announces new European CEO in wake of UK job cuts. 𝙇𝙄𝙁𝙆𝙎 revealed as the new European boss of Lotus Cars, promising to read the room with hyper-hybrids and investment in assistance tech. Lotus are on track to sell 12,000 cars this year and are hoping for 30,000 cars by the end of 2026. New 𝙇𝙄𝙉𝙆 targets VW T-Roc and Toyota CHR with sub £30,000 price tag. This is going to be a plug-in hybrid premium C-segment SUV, and it's going to be priced from $29,500, meaning it will rival the T-Roc and CHR. It's going to be a 1.6 litre petrol in this. The plug-in hybrid version is going to cost a fair bit more. That will be about £35,000, but that still makes it roughly £4,000 cheaper than a plug-in hybrid CHR. I think it's an odd comparison to make, so I don't see too many people going from Toyota to 𝙇𝙄𝙉𝙆, but possibly they will. But I think the point is it's quite a bit bigger car than the VW and Toyota rivals, and it's also quite a bit cheaper than them. So it is offering, if you like, more car for your money. Where it might struggle against those two, though, is the WLTP figure, which is 37.7 mpg, which is a far cry from anything you'll get, certainly in the Toyota. Work has started on the next Celica, says Toyota. I'm delighted about this. I love a Celica. Brand's vice president confirms long-rumoured reboot to spectators at Rally Japan. He said, "We're making the Celica," which is pretty direct, isn't it? To be honest, there's no sign of it right now. However, there are many people within the company who are eagerly awaiting the Celica, so I wonder if it's okay to say this in a public forum, but we're doing the Celica. His announcement follows extra speculation during the past few weeks, with Toyota dropping hints that it was preparing to revive MR2 and Celica nameplates, while also reviewing the 𝙇𝙄𝙁𝙁𝙄𝙁 and GR Supra. I cannot wait for some exciting cars to come from Toyota again. In the 90s, probably my favourite car brand, and I'd love that to be the case again. Next, BMW M3 to offer choice of straight six or electric power. BMW's sports saloon lineage to diverge as the new class EVs arrive. Not a massive surprise there. Volkswagen to overhaul their entire electric car lineup in 2026. It's going to see them launching heavily updated versions of the ID range from 2026 as part of a significant upgrade to the MEB architecture on which they're based. Obviously, this ties in with that joint venture with Rivian. They'll be sharing some of that knowledge from Rivian, taking that into the new MEB platform, and it could be really quite interesting, this. They'll also be slimming down the brand's combustion engine range, with Euro 7 emission regulations kicking in next year. There's also that ID2 around the corner, which could be something very special. And I think they've taken their time with it a bit, and hopefully they get it right, because the ID3 always felt a bit rushed out. The ID2 could be a very, very special and important car for them. So, yeah, positive signs coming from VW, I would say. Kia's Sportage facelift brings chunky look and upgraded hybrid, one of the UK's biggest selling family cars, to get a major update inside and out. All looks really nice, actually. I had a poke around in that very car in LA, and although the changes are not massive, they really have improved it in a few areas. Pricing looks like it's going to remain the same, so they'll kick off from about 29 grand. New Hyundai CEO pledges no significant change in strategy. Jose Munoz steps up to lead Hyundai's global operations. I don't blame you, Jose, to be honest, because things are going very, very well for Hyundai, certainly from the outside in. They're producing some fantastic cars. The brand's gone from one that was slightly laughable 20 years ago to one that's now kicking the backside of a number of legacy manufacturers. So well done, Hyundai. That's it for this one, folks. Please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Thanks to everyone that watches the videos. I don't probably say it enough, but there are lots of you that watch every video, whether it's something that appeals to you or not. The channel members are brilliant. I mean, I just cannot believe people watch a fat idiot like me as much as they do. So thank you very, very much indeed for all your support. It's been a really good year so far, and hopefully we'll go out with a bang. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Huge thanks to all my channel members for your continued support. I really do appreciate it.